This is question number 9 of homework 7 for chapter 6. This is a relatively hard question, but as you will see, as long as we follow the setup and read the setup carefully and do the work carefully, I think we should also be fine. So basically, we have a German music publisher back in 1796, and he did a calculation about the cost of printing music using an engraved plate technology, and used the estimated cost of functions to make production decisions. Hattel figured that the fixed cost of printing a musical page, the cost of engraving the plates, was 900 pfennigs. The marginal cost of each additional copy of the page was 5 pfennigs. So based on this setup, we can see that the fixed cost is 900 pfennigs, and the variable cost per page is 5 pfennigs, and the variable cost doesn't change, and that's also the marginal cost of each copy of the page. And the question asks us to graph the average total cost, average variable cost, and the marginal cost functions. So to graph the average total cost, we first makes sense to first write down what's the total cost. So total cost is 900 plus 5 times Q, and here Q is the total number of pages. 900 that's the fixed cost, and 5 that's the marginal cost. So this is the total cost, and the average cost is basically just this total cost divided by the quantities, the number of pages. So that equals 900 divided by Q plus 5. And so now, given any value of Q, we can calculate this average cost. And the hint basically provides 3 quantities: 20, 60, and 180. So to plot the average cost curve, we just need to calculate the average cost for these 3 quantities of output. So average cost of 20, that equals 900 divided by 20 plus 5, and this equals 900 divided by 20, that's 45, plus 5, that's 50. So that's our first average cost when quantity is 20, and the second average cost when quantity is 60. First, actually, we can see that based on the expression for average cost, because this quantity occurs at the denominator, so the higher the denominator, the lower the value of this fraction, hence the lower the value of the average cost. And so this expression tells that the average cost is a decreasing function of the quantity. Hence, when we increase the quantity, we can expect the average cost should decrease. So now this is 900 divided by 60 plus 5, and 900 divided by 60, that's 15. So 15 plus 5, that's 20. So so the final number for the average cost is 180, and that's 900 divided by 180 plus 5. And 900 divided by 180, that's 5. 5 plus 5, that's 10. So now we have 3 points basically on the curve, average cost curve, and we can draw that. For 20, we use the 3-point curved line. For 20, when the quantity equals 20, the value of the average cost, again, that's 50. So that's right here. And when quantity equals 60, the value drops to 20. So that's right here. And finally, when the quantity equals 180, the average cost drops to 10. So that's our average cost curve. And the second part is for the marginal cost curve. The setup actually already tells us the marginal cost. That's 5. So it's a fixed, it's a constant number for any given level of the output. 5. Marginal cost. And the third part is the average variable cost. And this part is also relatively easy because the total cost, based on the setup, the total cost is composed of this 900 fixed cost and the $5 or 5 pfennigs per page of the variable cost. So, and that's also seen from this setup, 900 divided plus 5Q. So this part, 5Q, that's the variable cost. So the average variable cost is basically 5 times Q divided by the quantity Q, so that equals 5. So the average variable cost is the same as the marginal cost. So these two lines coincide with each other. And so let's check our answer. Good job. So go on. Is there a cost advantage to having only one music publisher print a given composition? Actually, whether there is a cost advantage to having only one publisher depends on the total cost function. If the total cost function is a decreasing function of the quantity, then there is a cost advantage. Because if we have 2 publishers or more publishers, each of the publishers shares some quantities. Hence, the quantity of each publisher is a smaller number compared with if there's only one publisher. But if the quantity is smaller, based on our the presumption here is that the average cost is a decreasing function of the quantity. So if the quantity is lower, then the average cost is higher, and that's a cost disadvantage. Hence, from the cost advantage point of view, it's best to have only one music publisher in the industry. Based on that analysis, I guess we should choose it's really each one. An advantage to having only one music publisher because the variable cost of production is relatively high, and this is untrue because the cost also includes the fixed cost, and there's no advantage to having only one music publisher because total costs are low, and that's not true based on our analysis. C, an advantage to having only one music publisher because the average cost of the production is decreasing, and that's true. That's exactly as we just saw. We just analyzed. Check answer. Excellent. And finally, Hartel used his data to do the following type of analysis. Suppose he expected to sell exactly 340 copies of our composition at 20 pfennigs per page. Considering the total revenue per page and the cost of printing per page, determine the maximum amount of the publisher can pay the composer per page and still break even. So to determine the maximum amount the publisher pay the composers, we need to know first what's the revenue of the publisher and what's the total cost of production, which includes the fixed cost and the variable cost, and hence that the difference is the profit of the publisher, and the payment to the composer comes from that profit. Hence, the maximum amount of the payment is simply that profit. So from that analysis, we can just calculate R. Okay, PR, that's a profit, equals R equal minus cost, and cost is the total cost as we just wrote here. The total cost, let's see, and the revenue, that's the based on the setup, that's 340 copies of a composition at 20 pfennigs per page, so it's 340 times 20, so it's 340 times 20, that's the R revenue, and the cost is basically as we just wrote, it's 900 minus 5 times the amount of the number of pages, and here we have 340, so that's 340 pages, and that's the total profit. So if we put this number into the calculator, we can calculate this amount, which is 4,200. So now let's put this number into here, 4,200. Check our answer. Excellent. So basically, I want to use this question as an example to show you how to draw the average cost curve, marginal cost curve, and average variable cost curve. And the starting point is simply to write down the total cost function and also to get the average cost function.